Answer me one thing.
Have you ever stopped to think why we spend our entire lives working to enrich someone who, in reality, doesn't even know we exist?
Doesn't it seem a bit absurd that our time, our energy, and even our health are put, day after day, at the service of a system that only works because we obey it? And the craziest thing, since you were a child, no one has ever told you this clearly.
On the contrary,
They sold you a very well-told story, wrapped in a pretty paper.
called hard work is the path to success.
But is it really?
Think about it. From the earliest years of your life at school, they asked you, what do you want to be when you grow up?
And of course, you answered things like doctor, lawyer, engineer, fireman, astronaut. But funny, right?
No one ever answered, slave of the system. And yet, here we are.
Following the playbook that someone wrote long before we were born.
Have you ever felt this way too?
That strange feeling that you're
Running, trying hard, giving it your all, but it seems like the game never turns around.
stay with me until the end, because what you're about to discover may surprise you.
And maybe even bother you.
Because today, we're going to talk about the big lie that was told to you.
And to me,
And to everyone who once believed that working until 65 to, who knows, live 2 or 3 years of rest is the right path.
seriously, have you noticed how our entire lifestyle was shaped to make us believe?
That success is waking up early, clocking in, being productive, paying bills, and preferably not questioning anything. And look how interesting. They taught you mathematics, grammar, Bhaskara's formula, the function of the cell nucleus, but at no point did anyone think it was relevant to teach you how to generate income for yourself.
How to invest, how to undertake, how to build financial freedom.
Why? Who benefits from this?
Who profits from an entire society conditioned to spend its entire life exchanging time for money?
And money for bills that never stop arriving. The ironic thing is that, even though they realize, deep down, that there is something very wrong with this game, most people continue on autopilot.
After all,
Everyone does it, right?
everyone wakes up early,
Gets stuck in traffic, works 8, 10, 12 hours.
comes home exhausted, watches a little TV, sleeps, and the next day it all starts again. And life goes on like this,
Week after week.
year after year, decade after decade, until one day the penny drops. Or, for many, it never even drops. And I ask you honestly, do you think this is a coincidence?
Do you really believe that this logic of life was created to benefit you? Or could it be that, in reality, all of this was very well designed to keep you exactly where you are?
Producing, consuming, getting into debt, and enriching someone who may not even know how to pronounce your name. You know,
When we stop and think about it, it almost seems like a dark humor joke. People work 40, 50 years of their lives to one day, if everything goes well, receive a pension that barely pays the bills, while those who profited from all that time working continue to increase their wealth, multiply their fortune, travel the world, and without even needing to know who you are.
and look, this doesn't just happen to you.
That's the rule of the game. A game that, if you don't realize how it works,
Consumes you completely. But calm down.
because understanding this game is the first step to, who knows, starting to play in a different way.
And that's exactly what we're going to talk about now. And you know what's craziest about all this?
It's that, even when you realize that you're in this cycle, breaking this cycle isn't easy at all.
Because the system not only taught you to work for others, it also taught you to be afraid of trying anything different.
Afraid of failing, afraid of being judged, afraid of not succeeding. And that's exactly how they keep you in the game. A game where you run, run, run.
And the finish line is always further away. By the way, tell me here in the comments, have you ever felt this on your skin? Have you ever had that feeling that, no matter how hard you try, it feels like you're running on a treadmill, always in the same place, only more tired, more in debt, more pressured? Share your experience and your perspective on this here, because I assure you, you are not alone in this. And when we talk about these things, when we truly exchange ideas without filters, something starts to change. Your voice here makes all the difference. Don't underestimate that.
In fact, if this conversation is making sense to you, if it is somehow provoking you, making you reflect,
Leave a like on the video. It seems like just a click, right? But for those who are here producing this content,
it makes a huge difference. It makes YouTube understand that this type of content
matters, that it needs to be delivered to more people.
and it helps this message break the bubble. Because, let's face it,
If there's one thing this system hates, it's people waking up.
and of course, if you're new here, if you stumbled upon this video by accident, or who knows, by some sign from the universe, subscribe to the channel now. Here we talk exactly about those things that no one wants you to think about this invisible game that they have made you play since you were
Born, and mainly about how to start, little by little, to get out of it. And look, your presence here is not only welcome,
It is essential.
because the more people wake up, the harder it becomes for this system to continue working the way it always has.
So do it now.
Comment, like, subscribe.
Because, honestly, this is the only way we can make this kind of reflection reach where it needs to go.
To make this conversation grow, to show the algorithm and the world that yes, there are
People waking up.
There are people questioning.
There are people who no longer accept being just a cog in the machine. And you know,
Maybe that's the first step.
because once you start seeing the lie, you can't unsee it.
And that's when things start to get really interesting.
Now, I want to go even deeper into this subject, because there is a hidden truth that few people realize or prefer not to see. The truth is that, within this work model that everyone calls normal life, there is a
Silent engineering that makes something very clear happen. The more you work, the richer you get. But not you. Those who grow, who expand, who truly accumulate wealth are those who are at the top of this game.
And this is not conspiracy theory talk. This is pure mathematics. This is raw and naked economic logic.
Think about it. All your daily effort, all the hours you dedicate, that sweat.
All of this turns into something called value production. But look at the detail. This value doesn't stay.
With you, it goes up, it scales.
It feeds a system that pays you just enough for you to come back the next day and do it all over again. And you know who designed this logic? Who controls the capital? Who owns the companies, the assets, the backrooms of the money? It's as if there were an invisible pyramid, where the base, which is, supports the upper floors. And of course, the heavier it gets down here, the more comfortable it gets up there.
This is the cycle of surplus value.
You give,
Your time, your energy, your health.
and you receive a tiny fraction of what you actually generate. The rest, it becomes profit. It becomes assets.
It becomes yachts, stocks, luxury real estate, dividends, wealth accumulated by generations who don't even know you exist. The impact this has on your life is brutal, even if you don't realize it.
While you struggle to pay rent, bills, food, transportation,
There is a machine running, sucking up as much of your time and energy as possible. And it
does this without any noise, without any fanfare, with your badge, your uniform, your CPF, and that nice contract called a signed work contract. And between us,
Do you really think that you chose to live this way, or were you just made to believe that this was the only option?
because when we start to pull this thread, revelations emerge that are very disturbing.
Very disturbing.
Because it's not about meritocracy, effort, or dedication.
It's about how this game was programmed for you to always run, but never achieve. Answer me here in the comments.
That makes sense to me. If this penny is also starting to drop over there. Because now, I want to go even deeper into this subject.
Now, I want to go even deeper into this subject.
Because understanding who profits from your work is only part of the equation. There is an even quieter, much better structured trap that ensures that you stay exactly where you are.
Without moving,
And no, it has nothing to do with a lack of effort.
discipline, or dedication. The problem is that the game is already rigged, and most people only realize this when they are already up to their necks in debt.
You know that story about studying, getting a job, working hard, saving money, and one day living comfortably? Well, it's a promise that is never fulfilled.
Because along the way, invisible monsters appear, financing, credit cards, interest, bills that multiply like a plague.
It's as if the system was designed for you to live in an eternal
Race against the clock and against the negative balance in your account. The cost of living goes up every month, your salary doesn't keep up, and you feel like you're sinking in a leaky boat that you're trying to fix with duct tape.
And in the meantime, they distract you with empty promises, with the idea that if you work a little harder, if you try just a little harder, maybe you'll get that promotion.
That raise, that respite that, deep down, never really comes.
Education, which should
Be a bridge to transformation, in practice becomes a factory of people trained to obey, to follow processes, to keep the gears turning.
no one teaches you how to deal with money, how to invest, how to generate income without depending on a boss, without depending on a salary. And this is no coincidence.
It's because, if you know how to play outside their rules, you stop being a piece.
And start being a player. And that's exactly why so many people are too busy to question and too tired to react. You wake up, rush, work, come home, try to rest, but you're already thinking about the bills that are due tomorrow. And the cycle repeats itself day after day, month after month, year after year.
Life becomes this silent machine that consumes you without you even realizing it. Comment here, I'm on this journey too, if this penny has also started to drop for you.
Because now, I want to go even deeper into this subject. Now, I want to go even deeper into this subject.
Because if all of this seems uncomfortable up to this point, wait until you understand how modern slavery works. And look, it doesn't have chains. It doesn't have slave quarters. It doesn't have a foreman with a whip. Today, it comes disguised as opportunity, stability, a cute badge hanging on the chest, and even a QR code on the turnstile.
It's an invisible, elegant prison, accepted by everyone.
And the craziest thing,
It's applauded as if it were an achievement.
think about it.
You wake up, get ready, take the crowded public transport, deal with traffic, get to work and sell your time.
You sell your energy, your life, in exchange for a salary that, in reality, doesn't buy even half of your own time.
And do you know what's even crazier? You use this money to pay bills that ensure that you stay stuck in this cycle.
You work to pay for rent, food, transport, including that car that, ironically, you bought so you could go to work. And at the end of the month, who really profits from all this?
The bank, the government, the company owner.
Always them.
It's as if you've been given the illusion of choice.
They tell you that you're free, that you can choose where to work, in which company, in which position. But when you look closely, you realize that the options are just different versions of the same prison. A prison with Wi-Fi, with food stamps, with health insurance, but still a prison.
And they are so good at it that they have managed to turn all of this into a source of
Pride.
"Oh, I got a job."
They say, as if this were synonymous with freedom, but in practice, it is just the system saying, congratulations, you have won your premium collar.
Now you can choose whether it will be blue, black or grey, but it is still a collar all the same.
And when you start to see this scenario, you realize that it's not just about money, it's about control.
Control over your time, your energy, your mind, your decisions.
They keep you too busy to think of alternatives, too tired to plan a way out, and too distracted to realize that all of this was designed exactly to keep you that way. Answer me here in the comments. That makes sense to me, if that penny also started to drop there. Because now, I want to go even deeper into this subject. Because after understanding all this hidden truth about how the system works, that burning question arises, is it possible to get out of this game? And look, there is no magic, no off button, no ready-made formula, but there is a transformation that begins the exact moment you decide to stop playing the way they want you to. Because if the game is being stolen, the only way out is to change your strategy. And that change begins here, in your mindset. When you start to see behind the scenes of this system, you realize that continuing to follow the traditional script means accepting every day being just another disposable piece.
And that's exactly when many people wake up and
Understand that they need to take control, because if you don't build your own sources of income, if you don't develop skills that free you from dependence on a salary, you will remain trapped, even if you have a badge, Wi-Fi, and air conditioning.
this journey is not easy, nor is it quick, but it is possible.
And it all starts when you decide to invest in knowledge that is not part of this social script. Knowledge that teaches you about money, about creating value, about how to use your own skills to generate impact and build your autonomy. Because the truth is that no one is going to teach you this at school, at work, or in college. They don't want you to learn. Because the system only works until you realize that you can get out of it. And the transformation comes when you understand that selling your time is the worst deal you can make. Because time is the only resource you never get back. You lose and gain money. Time, you don't. So, when you trade hours of your life for a salary that keeps you locked up, you are literally paying to live inside a prison that they called stability.
If this video made you think,
Then you're already one step ahead of 90% of people. Because, let's face it, not just anyone has the courage to question an entire system that teaches you your entire life not to question anything. And if you also feel that no one should spend their entire life getting rich by someone who doesn't even know their name, comment below. I am not a part of them. System, just so I know that you stayed with me until the end, connected to this reflection that, man, makes a lot of difference. If this conversation had any kind of impact on you, leave your like here, because this is not just a button. It is a clear signal for the algorithm to understand that there are people waking up, reflecting, and wanting more conversations like this.
and of course, subscribe to the channel, because here, there is no room for idle chatter or pretending that everything is
Fine in this dirty game they call modern life. This is about opening your eyes, expanding your mindset, and seeking real transformation together. And it doesn't stop there, no. There's a video right here that fits perfectly with everything we talked about. Click and stay with me there, because seriously, this journey is far from over.